Hey guys, it's Glenn from the Functional Movement Club, and today we're just going to go through my go-to running warm-up. So today we're just going to start off by releasing off sort of the quads and the adductors, then we'll go through some stretching and some activation drills. So first things first, we're just going to grab a foam roller, we're going to drop down to the floor, we're just going to flush out those quads quickly. So rolling sort of from the bottom of the quads all the way, from the top of the knee all the way to the bottom of the hip. We're just going to roll through that 3 to 5 times, just get a bit of blood flow in, just start to get the blood pumping into that area. Then we're going to add in some movement. So starting the foam roller down like just towards the top of the knee. We're just going to add in some movement with that. So 3 to 5 sweeps down at the bottom. Just searching for any tight spots if you sort of particularly saw from another workout or a previous run. And we're going to do 3 to 5 in the mid portion and 3 to 5 just up the top. So obviously if you want, you can spend a little bit more time on any tight or sore spots, but you just want to get in there. You don't want to be wasting too much time. You don't want to be sort of flopping around in there. Then from there, we're just going to roll out the other side. So again, just rolling up and down, sort of using this more as like a scan of your quads just to see how tight everything is. Then we're going to add in a little bit of movement. So remembering where all those tight sore spots are. We're just going to bend and extend or flex and extend the knee 3 to 5 times in any of those tight sore spots or just sort of the different sections of that quad. Good. Then we're going to go into the adductors. So the best analogy I've ever heard of this is kind of like making love to the floor. So the adductors run from sort of the inside of the knee right up to the pubic bone. So what we want to do for these ones is we just want to roll from the inside of the knee all the way in as close as we can to the inside of that hip. Good. So again, 3 to 5 swipes, just making sure we're checking for any tight or sore spots. Then we're going to add in a little bit of movement. So we just start bending and extending the knee again in this position. And we're going to start off down to the bottom of the knee, around the knee joint, and then we're going to move up to the mid-thigh. And then the last position we're going to do for this one is going to be sort of just right in as close to that groin as you can get, or as close into the groin as you need to get. Then we're going to go through, we'll do the other side. So just rolling through, 3 to 5 sweeps. Again, just getting a bit of blood flow. Also more as like a scanning technique. So just making sure we're like aware of any tight or sore spots. If you notice that you have some sore spots that continually keep popping up, they're the ones you want to spend a bit more time on, or you want to do some activations to make sure you're just spreading the workload, because it usually means they're sort of doing more than their fair share of the workout. Good. So again, bottom, middle, top, just extending out, spending a bit more time if you're particularly sore in any areas. Next, we'll pop the foam roller away. We're going to get our ball out. So next one we want to do is we want to work on the piriformis muscle. So the piriformis muscle runs from the outside of the hip, or sort of the greater trochanter of your femur, for all your anatomy geeks, and then it runs to the inside to the sit bone. So it's an external rotator of the hip and can quite often become tight if your glutes or stuff aren't pulling their weight. So we're going to pop a ball, we're going to sit on it, then we're just going to go into a figure of 4, so that'll help isolate it. The reason why I like doing it in this position is you can dictate how much pressure you're putting into that ball. If you're really tight, you can push up, you can just gently sit on and ease into it. If you want to go full hog, then you can release the hands, you can really dig deep into that piriformis. Then from there, you're just going to roll around. You've got a few hip external rotators in there, so just make sure you're finding which one's tight, and then from there, we're just going to wiggle the knee in towards the chest, and then away from the chest. And again, we're just going to do 5 sweeps in any of those tight spots, or any of those spots that you find are giving you a bit more grief, or feel a little bit more tender than the others. If this is pretty painful for you, you don't want to sort of jump straight in and cause all your muscles to stiffen and tighten up. So we want to be trying to release off a bit of tension in the muscles through all these releases. So I'd suggest just sit there 30 seconds to a minute, just let that pain or discomfort or tightness dissolve a little bit underneath the ball. Then you can worry about adding in some movement. So we'll go other side, dropping down, just rolling around, doing a bit of a scan, finding any of those tight or sore spots. Then from there, we're just going to add in a little bit of rotation through the knee, 3 to 5, and working our way through that for about a minute. Sweet. Then it's time to start getting some movement. So next we're going to stand up. We're just going to go into a nice quad stretch. So standing up, we're just going to pop the knee behind. So in this position we want to stay nice and upright. We don't want to be arching through the back too much. The other thing we want to focus in on is pushing those hips forward and trying to sort of stretch out that front capsule of the hip. And the other thing you can do as well is you can just put a bit of pressure into that foot. The reason why we want to do the quad in a standing position is it's going to replicate our single leg stance. So first things first, we just want to get nice balance through that stance leg. You can do that by sort of squeezing the glutes, squeezing the quads. Get your balance, make sure if you're sort of struggling a bit, you can focus on a point in front of you, and then we're just going to add in sort of those little like squeezes or those creating a bit of tension through there. So about a minute on each side. You don't really want to do too much. You want to sort of maintain a little bit of activation through the muscles, so you don't want to be completely floppy when we're running. And again, get your balance, squeeze that glute, squeeze that quad, really feel like you're getting a stretch through that anterior capsule of the hip there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the standing figure of 4. So we're just going to bring leg up. Again, first things first, we just want to work on our balance here. So making sure that stance leg is nice and stable. Then we can just bring the heel up towards the chest. So just creating a bit more of a stretch through the back of the hip capsule on this left leg. So you can either pull it up or you can just actively try and push the knee down and towards the ground, just to start waking up those muscles, getting the right muscles to contract and getting the right muscles just to relax off. So after we've done that, change up sides, coming through, get your balance, holding underneath that knee, so you're almost making like a figure of 4 with your leg, and then pulling up, pushing down with that knee, and feeling a bit of a stretch through that posterior capsule. So next one we're going to do is just some standing glute activation. So we're going to pop the band on just around the tops of the knees. We're going to go into a nice athletic stance, so roughly about a 45-degree bend of the torso. And then from there, we're just going to practice rolling the knee in, rolling the knee out. So I like to call these the Elvis Presleys. If you're too young for that, you need to give yourself a bit of an uppercut or go and do a quick YouTube search, but I think everyone knows who the king is. So we're just going to do 10 ins, 10 outs on each side. Then from there, we're going to go into just our single leg stance with a toe touch. So coming out here. These are my go-to exercise. If you find when you do like your crab walks or whatever, and you're sort of labouring all over the stop, the hips don't stay very level, you kind of feel it in your bum but not really, and you feel like you're getting a workout everywhere else, it might just be worth regressing a little bit, coming back into that stable leg stance, and you'll help to isolate that stance glute. From there, we're going to do 10 on the other side. Then we're just going to go into 10 single leg quarter squats. So this is going to stimulate sort of more of your running technique, where we're just going to go down. You can choose to go down as far as you like. Roughly, we want to be getting down to at least a quarter. If you're really good with it, you can go down into a half squat. And again, just 10 on each side. We want to be maintaining a little bit of tension through that band as well, which is going to help sort of those glute medius and those side hip muscles to really contract, control that knee as we're going through our running cycle. Then we're going to run through that again. So 10 out to the side, 10 out to the side, 10 out to the side, or 10 toe taps, sorry. And 10 toe taps. And 10 single leg squats. Yes, by the end of that second round, you should be starting to get a nice little burn through those glutes, really making sure they're firing, and they're going to be nice and stable as we're going for our run. If you particularly struggle with sort of the single leg squat, you can have a little box behind you as well, or something just to sort of like a object to reach for. So now we're starting to get the blood pumping. We're just going to go into some more single leg stability work. We're just going to go into a couple bird dogs or airplanes. So from here, sliding that hip back, we're just going to lift up and come down. So we're just going to do that 10 times on each side. Sliding the hips, sliding the foot back helps to create that little bit of balance for you, and it also helps keep the hips nice and level. So we don't really want to see the hips opening up. We'd much rather see a nice controlled motion where the leg only comes up a little bit and you're really starting to feel the glutes, the hammies and the quads stabilize on that stance leg. And then we'll go other side, so sliding back, come up. Just taking notice, if one side's particularly easy for you, you just might want to get into a little bit more single leg stability or some single leg strengthening on the side that you struggle a little bit more with. And we'll do one more set of those. So just kicking out, coming up, down. If you want to add in a little bit of extra hip demand, you can go hands out to the side and then add just a little bit of rotation. But again, we don't want to be sacrificing form just for the sake of hitting a more complex component of this drill. We just want to be making sure that we're getting the basics down pat before we start exploding, because hopefully the run should be a little bit hard for you, and that's the main event here. Like that, and then rotation, opening up that hip. Being nice and slow, controlled, and deliberate. And you can see my left foot is slightly less stable than my right, or my left is less stable than my right. And so I want to be doing a little bit more work through here on my stability, but I also want to be slowing it down and just doing it nice and controlled as well. So we don't want to be overbalancing, falling over, or collapsing through that leg. Give it a go, let us know how you find it. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all our latest warm-up videos, and soon to be coming some warm down or some recovery videos for you.